studied at University of Houston, mechanical engineering. I happen to fall into this line of work just from people you know. So we'll start with soil mechanics, why houses have foundation problems to begin with.
Can you come a little closer so they can see?
Yeah, so we are in the city of Houston, right? This is Geotech. This is an engineering company. What they did was they took soil samples all over Houston, took that soil back into a lab, inserted water into it to see how much it would expand, took the water out, see how much it would shrink to determine the potential vertical rise of the soil. Now, based on this map, where are we at and what number do y'all see?
Caroline, 5.
We have a 5-inch potential vertical rise. What that means is that potentially if it rains, it could swell up 5 inches or it could drop like a rock, right? So, when it comes to your house, what do you think affects the moisture of that clay around it?
How much water it gets?
Yes. So watering it, right? What else can affect that water?
If there's too much, too little, just the amount that the clay gets.
Yes, she's smart. Yeah, so rain, right? Rain, droughts, summers, winters, it's 4 seasons. So what tends to happen is during the summer, we have, the last 2 summers we've had over 100-degree temperature for like 40 days straight, really bad droughts. So that's causing all that clay around your home and underneath it to kind of shrivel up. And that just causes the house to start to settle, so to speak, or kind of drop. When the house was built, the engineers knew that it was going to settle over time, right? That's why after 20 years, like, oh, the house is settling, don't worry about it. So every time that clay expands and shrinks, it starts here, and it never goes back as high as it was. Every time it shrinks, then comes back up. So it's essentially doing this over and over and over and over until things start to break or crack, and you start to see issues. And you're like, oh, snap, what's going on? Foundation problems. And you call me. Things you can do to stop that from happening or preventive maintenance. We normally recommend these before we talk about the piles because we want to try to save you as much money as possible. Did y'all know that a mature oak tree can steal or drink up to 300 gallons of water a day? Yeah. So trees are beautiful, right? But they're not your friends when it comes to your foundation. The reason why is where the canopy of the tree is, 1.5 times that is where the roots can extend.
What's the canopy of the tree? What is that?
The canopy of the tree is where the leaves are at, the foliage, so to speak, right? The green part. So why do those trees need so much water?
To grow, survive.
Yep, grow, photosynthesis, right? If you maintain your trees, right, if you trim the branches, you trim the canopy, make sure it's not as wide, then you can reduce the amount of water that it needs to do photosynthesis and everything else. A lot of homeowners, though, they're not aware that the roots extend that far. So in your particular case, we have 5 trees that are sitting, actually I think 6 trees, including the crepe myrtle, right on the right-hand side of the house. So all those trees have roots, and they're all gonna make their way underneath your house and pull that moisture whenever they get thirsty, right? Have y'all ever heard the term watering your foundation? Yeah, I didn't know what that meant until a couple of years ago. But you'll notice during the summer, if you walk around the house, you'll see the soil start to pull away from the home, right? That's because it's shrinking and it's pulling. So if you water it consistently, you stop that clay from doing that constant up and down motion. So our second preventative maintenance we recommend is a watering system. Due West does a drip irrigation system. So what we do is we'll go 1.5 feet away from your house. We'll go 2 to 8 inches deep in the ground. We'll bury a system and it waters 7 a.m., 7 p.m., 15 minutes a day. And that's just to help keep that clay consistent. Otherwise, you'll have to get into piles, which is the next topic. So this is a press pile. It's a 6 by 12. It essentially looks like a paper towel roll, but concrete, right? The reason why it has a hole in the center is, let's say I try to push this pile into the ground and I get 5 feet deep. The active layer of soil is 6 to 8 feet. So in other words, if I only stop at 5 feet, what's going to end up happening is when that soil shrinks and expands, now the pile is moving up and down with it. So that's not going to work to try to fix your house long term, is it? We got to get a lot deeper than that. So because of that hole in the center, and we're the ones that created this hole in the center, we have a patent on it. What happens is, if we stop at 6 feet, we can take water and we can hydrate it down the center. So we just blast water down that hole, move any sandy soils out the way, and get even deeper with the pile. If we get less than 10 feet, we're gonna hydrate it until we get to at least 10 feet deep. Typically in this area though, we're gonna get a lot deeper than that. We're gonna get 15, 20, 25, 30 feet deep. We go until we hit the point of refusal. That's where that pile refuses to go any deeper and the house starts to come up.
Okay.
Some of my competitors, they'll tell you, oh, we're gonna go down until we hit a certain PSI, 8,000 PSI, 10,000 PSI. You know, that's great, but that PSI can change day to day, depending on how hot it is.
What's PSI?
It's like pounds per square inch, right? So 8,000 PSI. Now,
Y'all know what he's saying?
Mhm.
What is he saying?
I don't know how to explain it. I know.
Well, do your best.
It's like going down by pounds per square inch. It's not as effective since they're just saying that they're pushing it down further, but it's not going as deep as it should.
yeah, exactly. So, for example, if they say we're gonna stop at 10,000 and they go down 4 feet and it stops at 10,000, they did exactly what they said they were gonna do, right? They hit the 10,000 mark and they stopped. But we know that that's not deep enough. We have to go deeper than that. So it might take more pounds per square inch to get deeper than that, but they need to. Otherwise, they're giving you a solution that's not gonna.
Why does the pounds matter? Why would the pounds matter?
Pounds for what?
Pounds per square feet.
Like,
Visualize what a pound is and visualize what square feet is. Why does the pound, why is that important with square feet?
Let me give you a hint.
yeah.
Okay, here's a hint. What are we trying to lift with these piles?
Soil. Clay.
So we're trying to get through the soils to find that solid area, but what are we trying to lift with these piles?
The
Essentially,
foundation.
the foundation. We're trying to lift the house. So we're trying to lift your house with a 6x12 concrete pile, right?
Yeah.
So it's very important for us to go as deep as physically possible. That way your house doesn't move in the future, right?
Yeah.
Do y'all want to pay for a solution and then have us come back out every 2 years, 3 years to try to readjust it because it keeps moving? Yeah, that's what a lot of my competitors are doing. Due West, we have a lifetime warranty on our product. That's what this Ultra Pile gives you. A lot of my competitors, we're actually the guys that created the installation process for this. So if you look at the report, it's, I think I have a paperwork. It's FPA SC0801. And the guy who runs Due West, Jim Dutton, he was on that committee. So we created that installation process. But
So Jim Dutton made that product?
yeah, we created the process for installing this pile. He didn't make the press pile. That was created by Gene Wilcox back in the 80s. But when Gene Wilcox made it, it was originally for commercial use. It was a very large pile. But Jim Dutton's dad, Elmer Dutton, shrunk it down and found a way to use it for residential. So any and everyone who does this, they're just copying what we do, right? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So since he has a patent on that, anyone who used that design, do they have to pay you to use it?
They just can't use our design. So they can use a pile with a hole in the center, but they can't do our exact process, like how we install it. They just can't do it, right? So there's other companies that they'll have something similar. One company, I can't name names, but they'll have what we call cable lock. So they'll take a steel rebar or wire through there, and then they'll put the pile in place and then put another one on top of it, but it already has the wire going through it. So
But they don't use water, because your system uses water.
Yeah, our system does the hydrojetting down the center, so they can't do that. What we do when we install this, so you have two options, the ultra pile or the solid pile. There's no hole in the solid pile, but it's still 6x12. So we dig a hole, 2 foot by 2 foot on the side of your house. We're gonna get 27 inches underneath the grade beam of your home. We're gonna use a 25-ton ram, that's what you see over here, along with the weight of your house acting as a ballast to push those piles into the ground. All that dirt that you see here, all the dirt you see here, we're gonna put it on dry wood, because we're kind of like Boy Scouts of America. We wanna leave your house, nicer than how we found it. So we make sure to put everything there so we can put it back after. When we're pushing these into the ground, we take a bucket of water and we fill that hole with it. That way we can lubricate the pile and lubricate the soil as we go deeper into the ground. That's very important because if you don't do this, you're gonna miss out on going a couple feet deeper just by adding a little bit of water. If we had to go through your, let's say the garage, in the middle of the garage, we need to support that area, we would do a breakout. Same thing, 2 foot by 2 foot, but through the concrete. And after we finish, we're gonna patch it back up.
But we're gonna go inside because they say it's cheaper and it's less messier.
Yeah.
We don't have to redesign the outside and stuff and all of that.
So it is cheaper to go through the floors, that is correct. I wouldn't say it's less messy though. So if you go through the floors, what ends up happening is, one, you're not going through your slab, so now you're weakening it, right? It's like getting an oil change for your car, but cutting the hood of your car just to get that done. Because you're gonna bust through it with a jackhammer, and then you're gonna try to underpin and lift it up right next to where you busted a hole into it. So it's not the best idea to do. It is definitely cheaper. There's no denying
But
that.
it's not. It's better to go outside than inside.
It's better to do tunneling. So we're the first company in Houston to do that as well. So what we do is we'll dig a 3 foot by 3 foot tunnel underneath the house to get to where we need to put the pile in place every 6 to 7 feet or so. And then we tunnel, put it in place, tunnel wherever we need to, and then we come out. That way, one, y'all never have to leave the house. Y'all never have to move out. All the work is done outside and under your home. So it doesn't change your day-to-day life at all. For the breaking through the floors, y'all have to move out. The AC has to be cut off. It's gonna produce a lot of dust. If that dust gets into your AC unit is toast. The furniture has to be removed so we can actually bring our wheelbarrows in and outside of the house. We'll put up tarps. The dust from that construction, it pretty much never goes away. So if you can avoid going through the floors, I highly recommend it. But I'll give you options for both. You know, this is what it looks like if we do the tunneling. The 3 foot by 3 foot hole, just enough to get a man through there, so you can get in place and then put the piles.
And they would be doing that in the hallway if we did.
Yeah, we'd go by the front door and then just tunnel up where we need to put the piles.
Okay.
This is what a breakout looks like inside of a house. So you'll see all that dust. Something I didn't mention as well is, like, once you do the breakout, that flooring is gonna have to be replaced, right? And that could end up adding to your cost. We'll put tarps up. We'll do our best to cover up as much as we can, but I'm telling you that dust gets everywhere. And we'll patch the slab back up, but we're not gonna replace the initial flooring.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It gets dusty.
You said deep. We can create like an escape tunnel.
You could. So back to that preventative maintenance we talked about earlier. For the root shields, all the top grass goes on a piece of plywood. Put all the dirt on there. 1 foot by 3 foot. We go 3 feet deep into the ground. The roots grow on the top 18 inches. So when we finish digging the trench, we line that trench with a polyethylene sheet. It's like a little plastic barrier. So when the roots grow back, they hit this barrier. They're not able to get any moisture. So what are they going to do after that?
Move out. Move out.
Leave out?
Yeah, find somewhere else.
Yes. So the roots typically tend to start to dive, right? So they're on the top 18 inches. We dig 3 feet, so we dig twice as deep as they go. And they'll start to go down. And if they manage to make it all the way to the bottom of the trench, remember it's a 3 foot and 1 foot across. It's like a big old L. So we line that 3 feet and then a foot this way. So it kind of redirects them. So that way we can control the trees and try to keep them away from stealing from your home. See? This is the top 18 inches here. And if you look deeper in there, you're gonna notice that there's no roots down there. And this is the polyethylene sheet, 4 foot sheet, 3 foot going up and then 1 foot across. And then if we were doing a drip irrigation system, you'll just see it buried. We dig it all across the house.
So you have to add the drip irrigation system. It doesn't come with the original.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll have a separate estimate that has the root shield and the watering system on it. You can choose to add those on if you want to. I'm also going to give you information on how to do irrigation system yourself. It's a lot cheaper. You can literally go to Home Depot, spend a couple $100s, buy the parts, do a couple soaker hoses, and that'll work great for the house. The name of the game is just being consistent with it. As long as you're watering, doing a little bit here and there, you're going to be fine. If you water once a week, twice a week, you're wasting your time, right? If you're not gonna be consistent, then just don't do it at all. That's my opinion on that.
Cool.
And then
Look
this
at the
is
piping.
in the case. So before we do any lifting of your house, we do a hydrostatic test before and afterwards.
So, guys, this is the foundation. This is under the ground, under our house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what'll happen is before we lift your home, we go to where your clean out is, that's access to your sewer line, and we're gonna fill that with water, let it sit for 20 minutes, and then let it hold. If the water level drops, that tells me y'all have a pre-existing plumbing leak. If you do, that's your chance to call insurance, see if you have any accidental discharge coverage, and see if they'll cover the cost of the tunneling to access and repair it. If you don't have a leak, fantastic. We'll start the work, we'll lift the house. After we lift the house, we're gonna test it again to make sure no leaks were caused. Do you have any idea why we would want to test it after we lift the house?
Just in case it fills up with more water than it's needed.
Close. What do you think?
Because if there is a leak, your work would probably be useless because you have to go back and do it all over again.
Yeah, similar. So what happens is whenever you're lifting up a house, the house comes up, right? The foundation is going to come up, but the plumbing is encased in the soil underneath your home. So if the house is going up and the plumbing stays here, what's likely to happen depending on how much you lift it?
Disconnect.
Yes, you'll get a plumbing break, right? So that's why we do that test before and afterwards. Now, Due West, we don't have any, there's no exclusions in my warranties that will specifically say, hey, if there's a plumbing leak, your warranty is voided out. We don't have that, but I have 4 competitors' warranties with me that will tell you the exact opposite. That if there is any plumbing or water leaks, it voids their warranties out completely. So that's something you want to look out for whenever you're looking at competitors' quotes. You got to check that fine print. Because they're not going to tell you that. You have to kind of know what you're looking for, and you'll see it. It'll say plumbing or water leaks voids the warranties out.
Okay.
So that kind of get out of jail free cards they use is kind of monstrous. Because you know if you're lifting more than an inch, inch and a half, you're more likely to get a break anyway. If you're doing the tunneling already underneath the house, we typically already have access to your sewer lines. We can see them when we're down there. So what we can do is we can break the soil off around it. That way it's less likely to break. If it does still break, then we do have a plumbing division. Due West has a plumbing division, foundation, and AC and heating. So if there is a break, we can send a plumber out here, he'll do an isolation test, he'll run a camera through your clean out, find out where the break is at, and then he'll get you an estimate to do the repairs. And if we already have tunnels open, we don't have to charge you for tunneling twice. It's already open, we'll just fix the repairs, and then you save money on that aspect.
So, just girls, so they have one company, and under the company, how many umbrella companies do they have? What did he just say?
Plumbing company, because tunneling company? No,
AC.
no, AC. Yeah, AC.
And then why am I here?
Foundation.
Yeah, there we go.
So, one owner, 3 companies under the umbrella. So, what did that tell you?
Money.
Money, money, money.
Money, yeah. So we've been around for 46 years, since 1978. And the name of the game is do the job right, do the job right the first time. That way we don't have to come out and keep repeating it. My competitors don't have that same notion, right? Their idea is do the work, and then after a year, that warranty expires anyway, so they're gonna get to charge to come back out again and again and again. So they're not incentivized to do it right the first time. We don't make any money on maintenance work, so we have to do y'all right the first time. Any questions?
What about his profession?
Okay. What is your profession?
What is my profession?
Yes.
Is that it?
I'm technically a foundation repair estimator.
What else you want to know when you're talking to people about their jobs?
How long did it take you to reach this point?
Whew. So I'm still learning, right? I'm still learning every day, but I've been doing this for about 2 years now. But my background with in-home consultations goes back the last 7 years. So
How much do you get paid?
that's a good question. So I get paid based on, that's an interesting question. So it's commission work, right?
I can stop that if you want me to. If you don't want that on here.
It's fine. It's commission work. So the name of the game isn't to, my incentive isn't to make as much money as possible off of your project, right? Every day I go to 2 to 3 houses. I meet a lot of different families. So my goal is to make y'all, of course go with Due West, but I want to give y'all the best deal possible, right? So I'm going to give y'all discounts up the wazoo if I can to earn your business, because for me it's not so much, one person. I want to help as many people as possible. If I help as many people as possible, then of course, when you do good, you get good back. That's what I've learned in life. Help others, and then you get helped. So same notion applies to commission work. Help as many people, and then you'll make money.
Lawyer that question. Lawyer the question you just asked. You asked the question. Did you get your answer? Lawyer it.
Okay.
Debate it.
How much money exactly do you get in numbers?
So it's all based on.
You don't have to answer it, but I'm just teaching her
to lawyer.
that they have debate competition coming up. So everything we do.
You gotta be able to flip it.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we can turn off for this part if you want.
Okay.